Hello, this is Shib Siddiq with you on ANS Weekly English News. The government of Myanmar said that 4 Rohingya villagers were found dead in a conflict-torn area of country's western Arakan state. The office of State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi said in a press release that the bodies of 3 women and a man were found buried near Lupan Pin village in Mongdo area last Thursday, February 16. Police are investigating who these victims are. It said that, adding that these 3 female bodies bore deep wounds while the man had no internal injuries. The bodies were found a day after the government announced the end of military operations in the area predominantly occupied by members of stateless Rohingya minority group. Myanmar has been under international criticism for its military crackdown on Rohingya civilians in northern part of Arakan state, which has been under military lockdown since a gang killed 9 police officers last October. Soldiers and police have been accused of committing various forms of abuses, including mass gang rapes, killing and brutal beatings and disappearance in area during the military operations since early October last year. A recent report commissioned by the UN Human Rights Chief Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein stated that the rights violations against Rohingya civilians could be constitute crimes against humanity. Hayat Foundation carried out project to feed Rohingya displaced people in northern Mongdo city of Arakan, a state in Myanmar. Hayat Foundation Director Abdulaziz bin Mirza explained that the charity project was happened through a mobile kitchen to feed the Rohingya displaced people in northern Mongdo city, which targeted displaced families who have fled their villages and neighborhoods after being subjected to campaigns of violent security forces since last 9th October. In an exclusive statement to Arakan news agency, ANA, bin Mirza reported that the project was launched on November 13th of last year, an initiative with quality of institution and unprecedented project management, and that the number of beneficiaries reached more than 8,367 people till today, which included children, men and women from 17 villages in northern Mongdo, Arakan state. The government in Myanmar has confirmed that the security forces have arrested nearly 600 people since last October during the campaign on Rohingya minority in Arakan state of Myanmar. The government spokesman Zote said all the detainees will receive a trial in court in accordance with the constitution, he said. According to the statement, among them 51 were released while 8 died in the custody and 1 sentenced to death. According to the United Nations, over 69,000 Rohingya Muslims at least fled to Bangladesh after having swept through Myanmar army in Arakan state last October. The Muslims who have accused the Myanmar army of torture, murder, rape and looting, living in makeshift camps in Cox's Bazar on the border. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Rights, Ms. Yang Healy, during a meeting with the United Nations Human Rights Council in March to conduct an investigation into allegations that human rights group says it lives up to the level of crimes against humanity. Senior security officials in Myanmar said that the assassination of senior legal advisor to the government was a result of a personal political grudge, not a part of a larger military conspiracy. The officials of the police and the interior minister said at the press conference that the security forces have arrested 3 people for shooting on January 29th. The lawyer U Ko Ni, and a further investigation is underway for the 4th perpetrator. U Ko Ni is consulting the leader of Myanmar, Ms. Aung San Suu Kyi, on constitutional law, including how to wrest power from the army and put it in the hands of an elected civilian government, which may have raised the suspicion on the army's involvement in his death. Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs General Cho Sue said that the murder that came at the hands of 4 individuals stemmed from personal motives and ultra-nationalism. Myanmar government imposed an arbitrary system in the state of Arakan against Rohingya, as they are being forced to accept temporary identity cards, considering them to be outsiders in the country illegally have applied to obtain citizenship. A correspondent of ANA said these cards are denoted as NVC, National Verification Card. The government began to force them to acknowledge the progress to apply for citizenship under nationalization. The correspondent added that the move is to take down the right of citizenship and eligibility to nationality of Rohingya in the country. A Rohingya activist said that the move by the government is an attempt to preempt the United Nations resolution, which are scheduled for release in the next session, stressing that the government has imposed arbitrary measures on Rohingyas to accept these cards by preventing people from moving between villages. except for holders of these cards, and try to lure them by giving them the right to navigate to other cities, and also force some of them to accept under threat and intimidation. The activists feared that this step may lead to full consumption of Rohingya rights. Large number of Rohingya Muslims will receive these cards due to fear of reprisal of government threats or in order to avoid arbitrary and regulations set by the government. The government in Myanmar has withdrawn that so-called white card 2 years ago from Rohingya Muslim, part of a plan to expel them from the country on which they lived on for decades and cancel their citizenship under the law of 1982. The government suggests that they were illegal immigrants from neighboring Bangladesh, while United Nations consider them one of the most persecuted minority in the world. And now to our international segment. Russia and China vetoed new UN sanction on Syria Tuesday, and the US ambassador accused both countries of refusing to hold President Bashar Assad's regime accountable for the use of chemical weapons. They put their friends in the Assad regime ahead of their global security, New America envoy Nikki Haley told the UN Security Council after the vote. They turned away from defenseless men, women and children who died gasping for breath when Assad's foes dropped their poisonous gases. The Trump administration recently joined France and Britain in sponsoring the resolution. The Haley means no word in denouncing the outrageous and indefensible choice that Russia and China made on Tuesday. President Donald Trump have warm words for Russian President Vladimir Putin while campaigning, but Haley has now criticized Russia over its annexation of Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula as well as Russia. The defeated resolution was drafted following a joint investigation by the United Nations and the International Chemical Weapon Watchdog that determined the Syrian government was behind at least 3 attacks involving chlorine gas, and Islamic State extremist group was responsible for at least 1 involving mustard gas. It is in Kuala Lumpur's Little India neighborhood behind an unmarked door on the 2nd floor of a rundown building where a military equipment company called Globel saying it has its office. Globel is an in-front-of company run by the North Korean intelligence agents that sells battlefield radio equipment in violation of United Nations sanctions, according to a United Nations report submitted to the Security Council seen by the Reuters. Reuters found that the Globel advertises over 30 radio systems for military and paramilitary organizations on its Malaysian website, globel.com.my. Globel's Malaysian website, which was taken down later last year, listed the Little India address in its contact section. No one answered the door there, and the mailbox outside is stiff with unopened letters. In fact, no company by that name exists in Malaysia, but 2 Malaysian companies controlled by the North Korean shareholders and directors registered Globel website in 2009, according to website and company's registration documents. Thank you for watching this show today. Hope to see you very soon with more news.